They say, on some nights in Charleston, when the river fog rolls in heavy and the bells of St. Philip's toll slow and hollow, you can still hear the creak of a gate. A gate left unlatched by a man they thought was gone. But Elijah, he never really left. The camera drifts through the ghostly streets of 18th century Charleston, wet cobblestones glistening under moonlight. The wind whispers through the live oaks. Somewhere far off, dogs bark, the kind of barking that meant a slave had escaped. Inside a wooden shack behind the Hayward plantation, the sound of iron scraping iron fills the night, a shackle rubbing against the bedpost. Elijah's hands, raw and blistered, tremble as he files the chain one last time. Freedom ain't the sound of bells, boy, old Jacob had told him. It's the sound of chains hitting the floor. Tonight, that sound finally came true. He pauses, listening. Outside, cicadas scream in the swamp air. The overseer's lantern passes by once, twice, then disappears toward the stables. Elijah's breath shakes. He touches the small wooden cross around his neck, carved from driftwood, given by his mother before she was sold upriver. Find the river, Eli. Follow the mist. It don't lie. The words echo in his head as he slides open the back door. A thin fog creeps in like a spirit. His heart pounds. One last chain clinks and breaks. The plantation gate looms tall, black, and heavy with iron. Every slave had dreamed of it. None had ever reached it, but tonight the lock was half broken, rusted from years of rain and neglect. If God ever gave a sign, this was it, Elijah whispers. His fingers tremble as he lifts the latch. The sound seems deafening in the silence. He looks back. The quarters, the fields, the overseer's house where men like him screamed at dawn. Then forward, into the mist, the gate swings open. He steps out. For the first time in his life, he's not owned by anyone. No master's voice, no bell, no chains, just wind and silence. He doesn't know it yet, but this step will turn him into a legend whispered through generations. Elijah's bare feet slap against the cold mud of the marshes. Mosquitoes bite, frogs croak, water hisses around cypress knees. Every shadow feels alive, but freedom smells stronger than fear. He remembers stories of other runaways, some caught and whipped till death, others eaten by gators. But Elijah had something they didn't, faith and fury. A voice in his head whispers, "Keep walking, Eli. Don't stop till the fog clears." He sees torchlight behind. The overseers have noticed. Shouts echo across the field. Dogs bark again, closer. Elijah ducks into the reeds, chest deep in mud, body shaking. He presses the cross to his lips. "You didn't make me to die chained," he prays softly. "You made me to walk free." Hours later, exhausted and bleeding, Elijah collapses beside the riverbank. The mist thickens, almost blinding. Then he sees her, a woman in white standing on the other side of the river, barefoot, still, glowing faintly. "Who's there?" He whispers, no answer. Just a hand raised, pointing toward the north. He blinks, and she's gone. In her place, the river glimmers with moonlight, like a path. "Follow the mist," his mother's voice returns. Elijah stands, trembling but alive. The barking fades behind him. He takes his first step into the shallow water, disappearing slowly into the fog, just as dawn begins to paint the horizon. Morning. The overseers find the gate open, chains broken and muddy footprints vanishing into the swampland. The master of the plantation curses and orders a hunt, but no one ever finds Elijah. Over time, stories grow. Some say he reached the Free States. Others say he helped dozens escape through hidden swamps. And some swear his ghost still walks the foggy marshes of Charleston, unlatching every gate he passes. They thought they owned him. But how do you own a man who walks with the mist? Fade out. They said no man ever crossed the Ashley River alone. But Elijah wasn't just a man that night. He was every cry, every whip, every unburied soul walking again. The water bites his skin like cold knives. Elijah pushes through the fog, the current pulling him under again and again. He clutches his small wooden cross tight, his only memory of home. Every ripple feels alive, whispering names of the dead. Jacob, Ruth, Sarah, names he remembers from the fields, names that the world forgot. Something brushes against his leg. Maybe a root, maybe something else. He gasps, nearly screaming. But then, from the mist, he hears a voice. "Keep walking, Eli." It's faint, echoing like a memory. He looks around, no one there. Just the wind whistling through the reeds. By the time he reaches the far bank, dawn light spills like gold over the swamp. He collapses, coughing river water, his breath ragged, but his eyes full of something new. Freedom. The swamp stretches endlessly. Cypress trees rise like ancient guardians, moss dripping like ghostly curtains. Elijah moves slow, cautious, barefoot on the damp earth. Every sound, a twig snap, a crow's caw, a splash, could be death. He remembers Jacob's stories. There's a path, boy. A path where the mist never leaves. Follow that, and you'll find the old ones, the ones who ran before you. He doesn't know if it's true, but he walks anyway. Hours turn into days. His food runs out. His feet bleed. Once he catches sight of torchlight in the distance, the hunting party still searching. He hides under roots, body shaking as dogs bark nearby. One hound stops, sniffing. Then another bark pulls it away. Elijah exhales. The fear's a weight pressing on his chest, but the fire inside him burns stronger. I ain't dying here, he whispers. Not in no mud. Night falls again. The swamp glows under fireflies, reflections of stars above. Elijah stumbles into a clearing and freezes. A dead hound lies ahead, chain around its neck, ribs visible through skin. It looks starved. He kneels beside it, sadness in his eyes. They even chained the dogs, he says softly. Nobody free in this world. He takes the chain off and throws it into the river. In that moment, thunder rolls overhead. The first drops of rain fall. He tilts his head up, letting the water wash the dirt and blood away. It's like the sky itself is baptizing him, wiping away the name slave. As night deepens, the swamp comes alive with strange sounds, creaks, whispers, laughter carried by wind. Elijah feels eyes watching him. He grips a broken branch for defense. Who's there? He whispers. A voice answers. Not from one place, but everywhere. You came late, Elijah. He freezes. Out of the mist, shapes appear, men and women translucent, their faces calm and sad. They wear the marks of chains, but no pain in their eyes now. Ghosts of slaves who died in the swamps. Elijah drops to his knees. Tears stream down his face. I ain't dreaming, am I? No, one spirit answers. You're remembering. We never left. The spirits surround him. Warm light glowing faintly around them. Follow the river north. They whisper. Follow the sound of drums. There's a place where no master's whip ever touched. Then, silence. The mist clears. They're gone. Elijah's hands shake, but his heart is steady. He walks for hours. The air changes, from wet swamp to dry pine forest. In the distance, faint drumming. He stops, listening carefully. Drums, not the overseer's marching beat. These are African, wild, deep, alive. The kind his ancestors played before chains. He runs toward it, feet bleeding, voice whispering. It's real. It's real. The drums grow louder, and suddenly, a burst of torchlight. Figures appear, dark silhouettes with spears, feathers, and scars of old battles. Men and women with free eyes, maroons, the escaped ones. The hidden tribes who built free settlements deep in the swamps, fighting off hunters for years. One steps forward, tall, scarred, with eyes like fire. He speaks slowly. You're far from the fields, brother. Who sent you here? The mist, Elijah answers, barely breathing. And maybe God. The man studies him, then nods. Then God sent you to the right place. Welcome to the free world. Behind him, the drums roar again. Wild, unbroken, eternal. That night, Elijah sits beside the fire. For the first time, he eats without fear. He listens to laughter, songs, stories, voices that speak his mother's tongue. He feels something he never knew before. Belonging. One woman asks him, "Why'd you come alone?" He looks at the fire. Because somebody's got to open the gate. The others fall silent. Then one by one, they nod. They know what he means. He's not just another runaway. He's the first spark of something bigger, the start of a movement. He came looking for freedom, but what he found was an army hidden in the swamps, and a war that had only just begun. Fade out on the flames reflecting in Elijah's eyes. Freedom was no longer a dream whispered in the dark. It had a heartbeat. It had a name, and its name was Elijah. The maroon camp is carved deep into the swamps, a fortress of mud, wood, and spirit. Smoke rises from small fires. Children laugh, old women weave baskets, men sharpen blades made from scavenged steel. Elijah watches it all, wide-eyed. He's seen plantations filled with misery. But this was life. A warrior named Kwame, tall with scars across his chest, stands beside him. Kwame, we came here years ago. Thought we were runaways. Turns out we were builders, warriors. This swamp, it hides us, feeds us, keeps us alive. Elijah nods slowly, his eyes scanning the people. Elijah, back there. They said slaves can't build nothing. Can't think, can't fight. Kwame, then let's show them they were wrong. Days turn into weeks. Elijah learns to move silently through the jungle, to track by moonlight, to wield a spear. Kwame trains him hard, every failure punished not by anger, but by silence. One night, Elijah collapses after a long run. Elijah, you trying to kill me, old man? Kwame, grinning, no, trying to make you live. The next day, Elijah hits his mark, his spear flying straight through the wooden target. The tribe cheers, laughter echoing through the forest. For the first time, Elijah smiles like a free man. That night, as the fire crackles, Elijah sits alone, staring into the flames. He remembers his mother's face, the way she sang hymns under her breath when the overseer wasn't listening. He hears her voice again. Don't let them break your name. Eli, the world remembers a free man. He touches the cross around his neck and whispers, I'm still here. Ma, still walking, Kwame approaches quietly, holding 2 pieces of iron, old shackles, rusted and broken. Kwame, you keep these, a reminder of what you were, so you never forget what you're fighting for. Elijah takes them, eyes burning with resolve. Word reaches the Maroons. A new British overseer has arrived in Charleston, crueler, ruthless, and eager to hunt down escaped slaves. He sends mercenaries into the swamps, burning out every hidden camp. Kwame gathers the warriors. Kwame, we can hide, or we can fight. Elijah steps forward. Elijah, we ain't the hunted no more. We got fire. We got steel. We'll hit him first, where it hurts. The crowd murmurs, surprised by his boldness. Kwame studies him for a moment, then smiles. Kwame, then lead the charge, young one. The night is black. Rain falls hard. Elijah and a group of 20 Maroons move through the trees, silent shadows. Each man paints his face with ash and mud. Each woman carries a hidden blade. They surround a British outpost near the river, a small supply post guarded by 10 soldiers. Elijah, whispering, no fear tonight. Only freedom. The drums begin, slow at first, then faster. Lightning flashes, and the Maroons strike. Spears fly. Blades slash. The first soldier falls before he can shout. Another tries to fire his musket. Elijah leaps, tackling him into the mud, grabbing his weapon. Smoke and thunder fill the air. Within minutes, it's over. The outpost burns. The British flag falls into the river, flames reflecting in Elijah's eyes. He stands in the rain, chest heaving. Elijah, this ain't revenge. This is justice. Word of the attack spreads like wildfire. Other slaves on plantations hear whispers of the gatewalker, the man who escaped and came back with an army. Some begin to run. Others begin to fight. The British tighten their patrols. Rewards are posted for Elijah's capture, dead or alive. But the Maroons keep striking. Small ambushes, stolen weapons, freed prisoners. The rebellion has begun. One night, Elijah returns to camp to find chaos. Kwame's younger brother, Tano, is missing, caught by British soldiers while scouting. Elijah's face hardens. Elijah, they'll make an example of him. Kwame, grimly, then we'll make an example of them. But Kwame stops Elijah before he leaves. Kwame, don't lose yourself in this fight. We ain't ghosts yet. Elijah, I've been a ghost since the day they took my name. He shoulders his musket and disappears into the fog. The British camp glows with firelight. Tano is tied to a post, beaten, bleeding, but alive. Soldiers drink and laugh around him. Elijah and 2 warriors crawl through the mud, silent as death. They slit one guard's throat. Another falls before he can shout. Elijah reaches Tano, cuts him loose. But a gunshot rings out and the soldier sees them. Run! They sprint through the trees. Muskets fire. Bullets rip through leaves. Elijah drags Tano across the swamp until the gunfire fades. Tano collapses, coughing blood. Tano, weakly, you came back. Elijah, I said I would. Tano, you left the gate open for all of us, didn't you? Elijah, smiling, and I ain't closing it. Tano's breathing slows. He dies with a faint smile. Elijah sits beside him, tears mixing with rain. He looks toward the dark horizon. No more chains. No more running. We fight till the mist clears. The British thought they could tame the land with bullets and fear. But they forgot, even the swamps remember. And in those swamps, the drums of freedom never stop beating. Fade out. The sound of drums grows louder, echoing through fog and thunder. They said Charleston was unbreakable. They said no slave could stand against an empire. But they forgot. Fire doesn't need permission to burn. The maroon warriors gather under the giant cypress trees. Torches flicker. Faces shine with sweat and purpose. Elijah stands before them, his cross glinting in the firelight. Kwame speaks first, his voice deep and steady. Kwame. The British gather their soldiers. They march with cannons, horses, muskets. They come to drown us in our own swamps. Elijah steps forward. Elijah. Then we make the swamp theirs. They think this land is theirs, but it breathes with our blood. It knows our footsteps. It knows our pain. He looks around. Men and women, old and young, warriors and mothers. Everyone silent, eyes locked on him. Elijah. We didn't ask for this war, but now it's here, and every chain we ever broke brought us to this moment. They'll come with fire. We'll answer with thunder. The drums start, low, steady, rising, all together, chanting. No masters, no chains. No fear. At dawn, red coats march through the marshlands. Hundreds of soldiers, led by Colonel Whitmore, a ruthless man with ice-blue eyes and a scar running down his jaw. Whitmore, find the rebels. Burn every tree, every hut, every man who stands. The sound of muskets, boots, and horses echoes through the forest. But the swamp watches, silently. Then the horn blows, and from the mist, arrows fly. A soldier falls. Another screams. The British lines break, chaos. Figures appear and vanish. Maroon warriors, striking like ghosts. Elijah leads the attack. He moves through fog like shadow, quick, silent, deadly. His spear pierces a soldier's musket arm. Another swings. Elijah ducks, counters with his blade. Mud splashes, screams echo. Muskets fire blindly into mist. Elijah, shouting, "This is our land. Every step you take is borrowed." Kwame signals from the ridge. Hidden trenches explode. Fire and smoke erupt as barrels of gunpowder ignite. The swamp becomes a battlefield of chaos. Drums beat from all sides. Deep, thunderous, unstoppable. For the first time in history, Charleston's slaves fight back. Night falls. The British retreat for now. Hundreds dead. Their pride shattered. But inside the maroon camp, unease grows. A wounded man limps in. One of Elijah's scouts. "Scout, they know our hiding place," someone told them. The camp falls silent. Eyes turn suspicious. Fear spreads faster than smoke. Kwame clenches his fists. Kwame. "Who?" "Scout, a boy, one of our own. They caught him and promised freedom if he spoke." Elijah looks down, anger and pity in his eyes. "Elijah, they make us turn on each other. Same way they made us hate our own skin." He turns to the warriors. "Elijah, if they come for us again, we don't run. We stand. We fight for everyone who never got the chance." Hours later, fire lights up the horizon. The British return, this time with hundreds more. The swamp explodes with cannon fire, trees falling, huts burning, screams, smoke, chaos. Elijah runs through the village, pulling children to safety. Kwame fights near the river, taking down 2 soldiers before a bullet rips through his chest. Kwame, falling. "Don't stop, brother." "Finish it." Elijah catches him, tears mixing with ash. "Elijah, you ain't dying today, old man." Kwame, smiling faintly. "Maybe not. If my name still lives." Kwame's hand goes still. His body falls limp. Elijah rises, eyes burning with fury. Elijah shouting, "You'll never burn us all." He lifts his spear, dripping with rain and blood, and charges through the smoke. The flames behind him glow like wings. Colonel Whitmore spots Elijah through the fire and raises his sword. Whitmore, "So this is the ghost they talk about." Elijah, "You call me ghost, but I bleed the same. You call me slave, but I'm the one you fear." They clash, steel on steel. Whitmore swings with military precision. Elijah moves with raw instinct. He parries, ducks, strikes. Both men fight in the rain, surrounded by chaos and fire. Whitmore knocks. Elijah down, blade to his throat. Whitmore, you'll die like the rest, forgotten. Elijah, grinning. Then you ain't heard the mist whisper. He kicks up mud, grabs Whitmore's fallen pistol, and fires. The shot echoes. Whitmore falls into the burning swamp. Elijah staggers up, bloodied, breathing hard. Around him, the British retreat. Some into fire, some into fog. The rebellion stands. Barely but alive. By dawn, the camp is ashes. The survivors gather by the river, silent, exhausted, eyes hollow yet proud. Women carry babies, men carry the wounded. Elijah stands at the front, watching the smoke rise from Charleston in the distance. He knows they can't stay, but he also knows their story won't die here. Elijah, they burned the village, but not the dream. We'll build again, and again, till they got nothing left to burn. He kneels, scoops a handful of ashes, and lets them fall into the water. Elijah, this ain't an ending. This is a beginning. The drums start again, faint but steady. The survivors march north into the mist, leaving behind the ruins of their world, and the birth of a legend. They thought they ended him in fire, but fire was the very thing that made him. Elijah of Charleston was no longer a man. He was the flame that refused to die, fade to black. The sound of crackling fire fades into the beat of a slow drum. They say he walked into the mist that morning, and the mist never forgot him. Weeks after the fire, Charleston lies broken. The plantations smolder in silence. The masters whisper in fear, not of rebellion, but of the idea that escaped them. No one saw Elijah die. No one saw him captured, only the empty shackles left hanging on the gate. The same gate he once left unlatched. The British write reports, rebellion crushed. But every night, somewhere in the swamp, a drum beats, slow, steady, alive. In the Blue Ridge Hills, deep in the forest, a small hidden village grows. Children play beside a river. Elders tell stories by firelight. Women weave baskets, humming songs that sound like prayers. And at the heart of the camp, an altar. Upon it lies a spear wrapped in cloth, and beside it, a single iron key. Old woman to children. He left it open, you see. The gate to the fields, to the world. He didn't run. He walked free. The children listen, wide-eyed. Boy, did he come back? Old woman, smiling. He never left. Years later, 1783. A British officer, retired and scarred from battle, hunts alone near Charleston's old marshes. Fog thickens. He hears drums, faint, rhythmic, ancient. He follows the sound, deeper, deeper. The swamp smells of wet earth and smoke. Suddenly a figure stands ahead. Tall, bare-chested, eyes burning like coals. Officer, terrified whisper, "Impossible." The figure raises his hand, the same scar on the wrist where the chain once cut deep. The officer fires his musket. Smoke fills the air, but when it clears, no one's there. Only the echo of drums and the scent of fire. He runs, trembling, never to return, and thus begins the legend, the ghost of the gate. Years pass. Across the Carolinas, stories spread among slaves working in the fields. He's out there. They say he comes when you break your chains. If you whisper his name at night, he'll guide you north. The stories evolve. In one version, Elijah is a spirit who lights torches in the dark swamps to guide runaways. In another, he appears before overseers, their guns jamming in fear. Some say his shadow walks with you when you cross the river, unseen, but warm. He wasn't just a man. He became a road, a map written in mist and courage. And through these stories, hope spreads faster than fear ever could. Decades later, a young runaway named Samuel flees from Georgia. Whips on his back, chain still fresh on his wrists. He runs north through the same Charleston marshes Elijah once walked. The night is silent until a faint drumbeat begins. He stops. A figure stands in the fog ahead, broad shoulders, calm face, torch in hand. Samuel, who are you? Figure, smiling softly. Ain't no who. Just someone who left the gate open long ago. He drops the torch. It lands near the ground and forms a faint path of light through the mist. Samuel follows it, every step lighter, faster. When he reaches the end of the path, dawn breaks over a ridge. He turns back. The figure is gone. Only the sound of waves, and one phrase echoing through the wind. Keep walking, brother. The mist remembers, 1848. London. In an old archive, historian Arthur Penrose reads through faded military records. Among them, Incident, Charleston, 1773, slave leader unknown. Possible African war veteran. Disappeared in fog. He pauses. The file includes a sketch. A man with determined eyes holding a key. On the back, written in ink, Elijah, the one who unlatched the gate. Penrose closes the file and whispers to himself. Some doors were never meant to be locked. He writes an article titled, "The Mist That Fought Back," but it's buried in history, overshadowed by empires. Yet somehow, the name Elijah continues to travel. Through whispers, through songs, through dreams, the screen fades to black. A modern-day narrator's voice fades in, calm, reflective, almost sacred. Freedom didn't start with documents or speeches. It started with a man who refused to bow, who looked at a locked gate and saw a road. Slowly, the fog lifts to reveal the ruins of Charleston, now peaceful with birds flying overhead. In the distance, a shadow walks along the riverbank, disappearing into the mist. A child's voice echoes faintly. "Mama, who left the gate open?" Mother, smiling. "A man who wanted us to walk free. Elijah of Charleston, the slave who left the gate unlatched and walked into the mist. They burned his home, hunted his people, erased his name from paper. But you can't burn the wind, and you can't chain the mist." Music rises, slow drums, violins, soft choir of distant voices humming an old African melody. Camera pans upward. Mist turns into clouds, forming the shape of a key. Fade out.